I got you.
All right, creatures of the night, welcome to Talking Taker, episode 177 of our encyclopedic exploration, digging up the career of the greatest professional wrestling character of all time, The Undertaker. My name is Alex Dorio. I want to thank you for joining us for yet another round of Dead Man Talking, and I am joined, as always, by my tag team partner, my wrestling buddy. He is uncut, uncooked, uncensored, Mr. Travis White. Travis, I am so glad to be joined by you here for this very special episode, but that's not all. We got another guest on the Skype call this evening. He is somebody that you guys, our loyal listeners, have heard from very often on our show. He has come through with so many awesome stories. Travis, you say at the end of every episode, if you were there, we want to hear from you. And this guy has been to some awesome shows. He's shared some awesome stories. He's been a supporter and friend of the show for so long. We had to have him on the show before we close things up here in a few months. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome WatchAlong Tommy on the spot. Tommy, thank you for coming on Talking Taker.
It's great to be here, guys. Thanks so much for having me on. It's been a long time coming, and I'm really excited to be here.
Yeah, I don't even need to know your last name. You're just WatchAlong Tommy to us. That's forever who you'll be to us. So,
dude, my favorite Who album, man. That's it.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, we are so glad that you are able to finally join us in person and share some Taker stories with us. And because we have WatchAlong Tommy on the show, we are going to do a watch-along here tonight. A very special watch-along. It's the 28th anniversary. Not a special anniversary, but, you know, we're not going to get to the 30th anniversary because we're going to run out of episodes to do. So we're going to talk about the 28th anniversary of the very first episode of Monday Night Raw. And of course, as we all know, exactly, that featured The Undertaker in the main event against Hall of Fame opponent Damien Demento, of course. Who could forget? But we're going to do the whole episode of Raw. It's only 45 minutes, so we're going to talk over it, try to be entertaining and funny over that. We're going to get to that in just a little while, but first, we want to hear from Tommy. We want to know about you. We know that you are a big Undertaker fan. You're wearing an Undertaker shirt, and that's why you became a supporter and listener of the show. Tell us a little bit about yourself and your wrestling fandom journey. Like, when did you first become a wrestling fan, and what are your earliest memories of this guy called The Undertaker?
Yeah, so I've been a wrestling fan pretty much my entire life. You know, when I was a little kid, my mother worked every Saturday and Sunday, so I was just with my dad, and he'd just kind of sit me in my little rocker, and we'd watch wrestling all day long, every single day, like pretty much when I was just a couple months old. And at that moment is when I really just, from that moment on, I've just always been a fan of wrestling. I know you guys are big WCW guys, being from down south, but for us, probably because my parents didn't want to have to spend any more than like however much it was for every pay-per-view every month for WWF. I was kind of steered away from WCW. So I think we did like the first Hogan show, Bash of the Beach '94 against Flair.
Nice.
And then I was like, this is great. I'm going to get 2 shows a month. And my parents were quick to be like, hey, that isn't happening. So, but yeah, I mean, I've been a fan ever since. I've been going to shows since I can remember. I've gone to like some really kind of awkwardy type of fun little, like I was aboard the USS Intrepid when Lex Luger body slammed Yoko.
What? Really?
Yeah. And so, like, literally,
wow.
I think it was like whatever my father wanted. Like, I didn't go to obviously Raws and pay-per-views when I was little because my parents, school night and all that.
Yeah.
But I think whatever my father wanted to go to, he would just take me along. So, like, I went to that. I went to the Fan Fest for WrestleMania 10.
Oh, yes.
I went to the public workout for WrestleMania 11 in Times Square with Lawrence Taylor, because my uncle's a big Giants fan, so like they all went to go see him, and I got to go along, and I'm like, this is incredible! Like, there's a ring.
That was a big deal. Like for us down south, he wasn't that big of an icon. But for you guys, he's a big deal, wasn't he?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He was huge. And so for us, like that WrestleMania in our family was held at like the highest esteem. Every year we'd go back, we'd watch LT versus Bam Bam. And I'm like, as I got older, I was like, man, this show is really bad. But like, I had the heart to tell them that, like, guys, this show is not a good one. So my earliest memories of The Undertaker, for the most part, are like, I liked him a lot. I was petrified of him when I was little, like petrified. And there were these certain shows of his where, like, my dad would label the tapes like "Do not watch" because of how petrified I was of certain aspects of it. So, like, Royal Rumble 1993, it said, "Big scary guy attacks Undertaker. Do not watch." It was created by Dan Gonzalez. Royal Rumble 94 was
good
like
advice.
What's that?
It's like good advice. Do not watch Gonzalez.
Yeah, I know, for sure. Like Royal Rumble 94, when he goes and he dies and he like ascends to the heavens. Forget it. Didn't even watch the Rumble. We turned it off.
No, that's one of my favorite moments. I loved that as a kid.
Well, and then like growing up, I was like, oh, that was really cool. But like that day, I was like scared.
Oh, wow.
I just watched it die and rise to the heavens. So that stuff for me was like, you know. But over time, like I just grew such an appreciation for the fact that this poor guy had to wrestle everyone who was like pretty awful.
Yeah.
Yes, that's
Every
something
big
we
guy
have.
Who came in like was just fed to this guy, and just kind of just kind of did his thing, and and so because my parents didn't take me to pay-per-views and to Raws, once I was like at that age where I felt like I could start to go, I just tried to go to like as many shows as I possibly could, and normally I try to like time into a weekend because like a lot of my friends don't love wrestling. My wife now watches it somewhat, but like they're not like super fans, so I always like make it around a weekend trip, and so it's allowed me to go. I think I've gone to like 6 WrestleManias, 6 SummerSlams, 5 Royal Rumbles, something like that. So it's been a lot of fun.
That's incredible. And if I recall, your first WrestleMania was a WrestleMania that we were at. Is that right? WrestleMania 27? That was your first one?
Right, yeah. That is right, yeah. Down in Atlanta. Yeah, I had, we had gone to Atlanta for Royal Rumble 2010. And then on the way home from Royal Rumble 2010, we heard on the radio that if WrestleMania was coming the next year, and my friend was like, "Oh, we got to come back," and I literally was like, "Whole year, like we're going back." He was like, "I was kind of half joking, but we did, and we went for it." And like that WrestleMania, I know a lot of people dog on that Mania, but for me, like the build for that WrestleMania in 2011 with The Rock coming back and Triple H, Undertaker returning for the 11 videos, and then he shows up, and then Hunter shows up right after him. They both just look at the sign. And it's like, away we go. Like. I love that show, and so I thought that was a really fun WrestleMania for sure, and that was my first one.
Yeah, I think Travis and I both are sentimental about that one. Like I can see why other people don't like it, but it'll always be special for us just for being there. We had a great time there.
Yeah, no, I thought that, and I think Taker and Triple H stole the show that night. I think they were the best match on the show.
Absolutely. So, do you have a favorite Undertaker match that you have been able to watch live?
That's a really good one. So, I mean, I was there for 30 when he lost the streak. Not a great match, but the moment for me, because I was building for so long, the Undertaker has this streak, and like it's like you never think it's going to be broken, but of course, as a fan, if it is ever broken, you want to be there when it is. So,
right.
I'd say for like moment-wise, that for me was just something that I couldn't believe. Like the Undertaker actually lost the streak, lost to Lesnar, and I was just blown away by it.
But you were rooting for Lesnar, if I recall.
That is very true. I was a total heel. Well, the whole weekend, my wife was running around, and we're at Access, and everyone's talking about Lesnar versus Undertaker, and my wife just kept saying like, "Oh, Brock's definitely going to win." And when she did, people would get upset. They'd be like, "You can't say that. Undertaker's not going to lose to Lesnar." And she'd say, "No, like, listen, this older guy, there's no way this old man is going to beat Lesnar. It would just destroy any credibility that Brock Lesnar has." And she had convinced me that like maybe there was a chance, but I didn't in a million years think it would actually happen. So once it did, it was one of these things where like everyone was so shocked. We were like going nuts. Like I equate it to John Wetland in the 1996 World Series with the Yankees, like when they beat, unfortunately, your Atlanta Braves.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, but when he like goes up, he puts his hand, and it's just, and we were just going nuts, and people around us were so upset. I think that was like, for me, it was so surprising to see how many people like legitimately left the show. were like in tears, and I was so surprised. But it makes sense. I mean, the guy had the streak for so long, and people took it real serious for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, without question. I mean, that the fandom that the Undertaker has, it's so passionate and it's so deep with so many people that we have talked to. I mean, we've always said we're not like the most hardcore of hardcore Undertaker fans. We love him and we appreciate him, and we've obviously dedicated 3.5 years of our life to covering him. But there are so many people that worship the guy, and that streak held in such high regard. Yeah, I guess it's really not that surprising that they had such emotional reactions to it on that night.
Yeah, I mean, there was someone at the end of our row that literally was trying to come at us. Like, he was so unhappy. He and I were having a great conversation to start the show, but when Undertaker lost, I was up cheering, and I'm doing the Lesnar dance, and I'm getting all excited. I was like, I can't believe this is happening, and he was having none of it. So it was really it was interesting, and but again, I mean, that probably moment there. Matches for me, I'm trying to think of so my first ever house show was main evented by The Undertaker. First ever wrestling show I went to, Undertaker versus Ric Flair.
Nice.
What?
Yeah, 1992 at Madison Square Garden.
Oh my gosh.
My dad had gotten us ringside seats, and we ended up, because Papa Shango was on the show, and I was afraid of him. I thought he was the scariest man ever. We traded our seats for a few rows back. My dad was so unhappy with me. And for years, I'd be so afraid of wrestling, and really, I mean, what made, even though I loved wrestling, I thought it was real. So for me, I was really afraid, and it was actually at FanFest at WrestleMania 10 where I refused to meet everyone because I was concerned a heel was going to attack my dad, and I just didn't want anything. And so I was crying, and I was all upset in a corner, and Howard Finkel came over to me, and he said, what's wrong? And I told him, I'm just so afraid of all these heels, and I just don't want to go to the bad guys come after us. And he was like, listen, kid, he's like, these guys, if they ever attack a fan, they're going to get fined, and they're going to lose a lot of money, and they don't want to do that. So you never need to worry. And literally, that was it. I stopped being afraid right then and there. I was like, they're always going to be cool.
Oh, man.
It was cool.
It was all thanks to Finn.
Coming through, dude. What a great story. That's amazing.
That's awesome.
Absolutely.
Man, if you don't mind, you shared a really awesome story that we kind of summarized about you and your dad, about a WrestleMania match that you got to watch with him towards the end of his life, and I know that was so special for you. Would you mind sharing that to our listeners again? I thought it was just such a great story.
Yeah, absolutely. So when my dad was alive, I'd gone to, I guess, 3 Manias, so 27, 30, and 31, and he was just got such a kick out of it. And I remember 31, I'm texting with him from there, and he's telling me, he's like, there's one thing's for sure, The Rock's not going to be there because he was on SNL last night, hosting SNL. And so if you think about that WrestleMania, they flew The Rock in via the jet to get him at the show. They then had Rollins cash in, took the jet back to New York to the Today Show, and then back to California for Raw the next night. I'm just like, it's so crazy the length you go. But yeah, so my dad, he was a huge Undertaker fan growing up. And he and I had gone to Survivor Series 02 together. That was probably the only pay-per-view we did. But every show growing up, it was always me and my dad who would go to all these things, and he just got such a kick out of the idea that I was at WrestleMania. So I'd always come home, and every year after WrestleMania, we'd watch different matches and different things from the show. And he'd immediately go to the Attitude Era guys. Who'd Triple H fight? Who'd the Undertaker fight? He never wanted to progress with the times. He didn't really like John Cena. Didn't really like. I think he stopped with Lesnar and Goldberg. Those were his last guys he got really behind, and then he kind of just lost interest. But he'd always ask about those guys, and so when I was at 31, I came back and he said, well, who'd Undertaker fight? And I said, he fought Bray Wyatt. And I'm trying to show him, you got to see this Roman Reigns Brock Lesnar match. He's having none of it. He's like, no, we got to see this. He's like, who's this Bray Wyatt guy? And I explained to him that he's this young guy. He's the son of IRS. My dad just thought this was the funniest thing ever. He's like, IRS is that old? He's like, oh my gosh. So we watched that match together, and he was so into it. And he was just like, wow, Undertaker still does this thing for an old man. He's just great. And so, yeah, we got to watch that match, and unfortunately passed away at the end of 2015. So, that match and that show in general will always hold a place for me. At that point for sure.
That's sweet, man.
Yeah, I think that's awesome. I love that you get to have that connection with him through wrestling. My dad, it was the bane of his existence, me watching wrestling.
I think my parents liked it, but they were always really concerned I was going to do it because, like, literally I went out when I first, like, I saved up all my money in 2001 so I can go to a BJ's and buy a mattress so I could just take bumps on the floor and watch Tough Enough and try to train myself with Al Snow and try to do all these things. So, like, I was really into it. I had like an entire, like, a basement wrestling league that I like came up with and like put out all the matches and all the characters and everything. So, like, I was like, this is what I want to do with my life, like, for sure. And so I think they were a little concerned about that, but other than that, they were all on board. And it's tough because you know, as you guys mentioned, I think when you guys were talking with Randy Turco about the difficulty of, you know, I think Travis said he's more of a WCW guy because of the Attitude Era. It was tough to watch these things that are like, suddenly you're going from watching all these like really fun hero versus villain stories to like all of a sudden seeing like half-naked women and cursing and all these things. Like, my parents were like, we have no choice here. He's already ingrained in this. But like they said, if you had started watching at that age, no chance would we allow that to happen. So it's really, really tough for sure.
Yeah, I had months at a time, maybe like a month or so at a time, where I'd be put on restriction because my parents would walk in and see, I don't know, Deborah showing off the puppies or something. They were like, you're not watching this anymore. Like, I got the, I think it was WWF The Music Volume 4. I don't know what song was on it, but something that they heard
Billy
me listening to it. Maybe it was Billy Gunn. Yeah. And they were just like, nope,
or
yoink.
Austin's, like,
taking that away. Yeah, something
it could have been Austin,
inappropriate.
Hard Rock song, whatever.
Yeah, no, I had a few of those too. I remember for us, it was like in 2000, WrestleMania 12, and Roddy Piper pulls off Goldust clothes to reveal he's wearing women's panties, and my dad legitimately called Titan Tower and left them a scathing voicemail. He was, or it used to be a family product, and that we'll never watch again, and all this. It was really funny, but I mean, it really was. It's crazy through the years of like how it's changed, but I feel like I've always watched. Like I never fully took, like, I know you guys took the break, obviously, when the Benoit thing happened. And I thought about doing that. The thing was, I'd already had tickets for SummerSlam. Because SummerSlam was in the Prudential Center.
Yeah.
Yeah. So at that point, we were like, well, we already have tickets for SummerSlam. So even though like this incredibly scary thing happened, we still went and went to SummerSlam. That kind of like rejuvenated us. But as far as actually, just because I was going to circle back to your question about great matches that I've been to for The Undertaker.
Yeah.
One of the ones that's always my favorite is the match right before Survivor Series 2009, where he comes out and he has the full Druid entrance, and it's at a Raw from Madison Square Garden, and it's Taker and Cena against DX against Big Show and Jericho, and
awesome.
I was convinced. I was like, this is going to be my last chance to see The Undertaker. Like, he's definitely winding down. This is it. And
that's 11 years ago.
Yeah, 11 years ago, and he does leave. But actually, the shirt I'm wearing here is actually the Undertaker MSG shirt from the last time he was there,
Sweet.
Which might have been his last.
That
appearance.
really might be his last time there.
Yeah. So,
We say that.
The six man with him and who is it? Him and against Elias. It's him and Braun and somebody, Roman maybe against Elias.
Yeah, he did a house show there. Is that what you're talking about?
Elias and Kevin Owens and somebody else. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
We'll cover that in a few weeks. So yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to these. I know you guys are probably like, oh man, these are some rough ones coming up, but these shows I think are like really fun, kind of quirky little like Undertaker versus like Rusev from like Saudi Arabia, and the Undertaker Goldberg match, which was kind of sad, but like there's some fun like you guys get to go through the whole like Brothers of Destruction versus DX saga in a couple of months, and so. So that'll be a fun way to kind of wrap things up for sure.
I was about to say, I mean, we knew what we signed up for, but we didn't. We didn't know those matches were going to happen when we started the podcast, so we didn't know we signed up for that. But it'll be all right. We're going to have fun with it, and we're glad you have been along for the ride, Tommy. It's been fun getting to talk with you and get to know you through the years, and then especially to have you on the show tonight. You're like the Forrest Gump of Undertaker and wrestling. I mean, even on the Intrepid, man, I could talk to you about that for a whole 2 hours. I could do a podcast. That's one of my favorite wrestling memories as I was a kid, watching Luger. Man, I loved Lex Luger during that run. I was 7 years old. I was perfect for All-American Lex Luger. I bought into it 100%. So
I'll tell you a quick All-American Lex Luger story. I'd gone to a house show with my mother, and I was wearing a Bret Hart shirt. She was wearing a All-American Lex Luger, like the big American flag with Luger in front of it T-shirt. Yep. And we were chosen to go backstage and walk Lex Luger down and wave the flag at a house show. And I chickened out, though. Because he was fighting Yokozuna. I thought Yokozuna was going to be mean. And so I didn't do it. And my mom was so unhappy with me. To this day, continues to bring it up about, like, what a bad decision that was.
Tommy! Come on, man.
Come on. Yeah. That's incredible.
Missed opportunity.
It may be an even better story that you turned it down. You know, you did what LeBron James did to Taker a few weeks ago. We talked about it. Big league. I'm good.
I had forgotten all of. I give you guys a lot of credit for pulling that one out because I'd forgotten that LeBron this the Undertaker. But
that's so weird.
You gotta love that. Like someone in the organization thought, oh, well, he's wearing an Undertaker shirt. Clearly, right before a game, he's gonna want to meet the Undertaker, and then he stood the Undertaker up.
Yeah.
Yeah, miscommunication on both sides there, sadly. But anyway, we are going to jump into it here. Like we said, we're doing the first episode of Monday Night Raw. So we want to invite you all to join us on the WWE Network. We're going to queue it up. And really, there's nothing really to queue up. You just got to go find episode 1, January 11th, 1993. And you're going to go to 000000. So you're going to skip through whatever crappy progressive ad is going to come up on your network. I'm so sick of seeing those.
Chronicle ad. So I had an actual WWE ad. So it was nice. Better than progressive.
Slightly better than that. But while you guys are getting that ready and getting ready to match up with us and turn the volume down on the network so you hear our commentary, there's no real good time to jump into this, but I know all three of us did want to mention and pay our respects to the late John Huber, a.k.a. Brody Lee, and as we talked about him on this podcast, he was Luke Harper in the WWE. He passed away over the weekend at only 41 years old. Just very tragic, very sad story. We just covered him on the show just a few weeks ago. He did get to have a pay-per-view match with The Undertaker as he teamed up with Bray Wyatt against the Brothers of Destruction at Undertaker's 25th anniversary, which is such a cool moment and memory. Actually, I watched his, it's called Formerly Known As on the WWE Network, and he talked about that. He said, you know, I have all of these old posters and stuff from my matches. I have the poster from when I fought Undertaker, or the match card and stuff, and that was so cool to hear him say. And Travis, I know you were always a big fan of his. You talked about that a bit on the podcast. Man, just I don't even know what to say. Just what are some of your favorite memories? How are you going to remember Luke Harper?
Yeah, I was familiar with his stuff from the Indies before he even got to FCW, and then obviously he was a vital part of the Wyatt family. You could obviously Bray was the crux of it, but you could he was the worker in the Wyatt family. Bray was he had the aura, the presence, the character, but Luke was the worker. You could interchange Braun and Eric Rowan you could have added any other big bearded guy, but Luke Harper was the worker. He was the one who could get in there and work. There's a reason he was in that match at Taker's 25th anniversary. Like you talked about, you thought it was going to be Braun, and I was like, no, I knew it was going to be Luke because he was the worker there. And his IC title run was great, and obviously things didn't go as planned near the end there, but I was always a big fan of his. Thought he should have had a bigger thing. We talked about how WrestleMania 33 should have been him and and Randy and Bray. Would have made perfect sense. He was main eventing on SmackDown with AJ hanging in there, looking fantastic, and really wish he had bigger and better things. I was excited for him when he moved to AEW, and we just talked a few weeks ago when we covered him about how he disappeared from TV. I was like, he hasn't been on there for 2 months, and little did we know that it was actually for medical reasons, so I hate that was the case. I thought it was an angle, like you talked about, Tommy, before we start recording. Maybe it's an angle, he's going to disappear and then show back up, but I hate that now we know that it was for his health reasons. So I hate that, but I'll remember him as just a fantastic worker, fun guy. All the interviews I've ever seen with him, he loves his kids, loves his wife, his family, family man, and that's a big part for me, being a father of 3. I'm a family guy too. Not Peter Griffin, but I'm a family guy. I put my family first, you know what I'm saying? So I just, they're a big part of me and my inspiration. So I always respected that about Brody or John or Luke, whatever you want to call him. So we'll miss him, and we can always go back, and I recommend everybody go watch the 2 out of 3 Falls tag team match with them and the Usos from, I think it's Battleground 14. One of the best tag team matches in recent memory. I'm serious. I mean, to me, I know the Young Bucks and the Revival talk about their matches, but the Usos and the Wyatts and the Shield, that stuff was top notch. The Wyatts and Daniel Bryan and team him and Kane, like any of that stuff, phenomenal.
Yeah, I think they had they did Wyatts and Usos like 4 or 5 pay-per-views in a row, man. And it was great every time. They brought the house down every time. Tommy, what sort of memories will you have about Luke Harper?
Yeah, I mean, I think Travis said it best. I mean, he's such a vital part of getting the Wyatt family over. I mean, at that point, Bray is coming off his run as Husky Harris. He's still really young, really green in the business. Eric Rowan, probably not known for his in-ring abilities. So, Harper really had to carry a good portion of the workload there for a long period of time. And, he's such a good guy. I mean, I had really only got to meet him briefly at an Access. So we went to try to go meet the Wyatt family, and they were all sitting there in character. And we were waiting on the side because my wife said, I don't think anyone, I think it was like them or Khali. And she was like, I'm interested in meeting the great Khali. So let's just stand here and take photos. And he kind of came by and he looked over and he kind of like glanced at us. You could tell he was in character. And as he came closer, he kind of was like, Seth Rollins is signing over there. And he pointed us to the Seth Rollins. And my wife was like, wait, what? Because he wasn't on the list. And so he had pointed us over there. And so cool. That was kind of cool. And then, the next year when Rollins cashes in, I mean, we're seated literally right above where all the talent. We're standing right next to the side of the stage. So we got to watch all the talent like losing their mind, going crazy, and they were all about trying to, like, they're just having the time of their life, so happy for Rollins. And all the way in the back, peeking his head out of the curtain so that he could see it live, was Harper. And even though he still tried to remain a little bit in character, you could tell he was just like really happy for his friend. So I think that it's I think this is really it's one of the sadder things that's happened in a really long period of time. I think someone on Twitter, I think it was, or I don't remember who it was, but they said, like, for folks who are in their 15 to 20 years old, even, they don't necessarily remember what it was like to lose Eddie Guerrero, someone in their prime who was a major part of the current landscape of wrestling, like John Huber was, and as Brody Lee. So this is all new to them, and so it is. It's this is probably the first one that there has been that major force of social media behind it, and I sometimes dog on social media a bit, but I think that it's almost been nice to see all the wrestling fans and all the wrestlers too come together and have nice things to say. And like Xavier Woods yesterday on Raw Talk, I think Raw went off the air, said some really nice stuff about Brody Lee, and just really sad. At the end of the day, you got to, as just Travis said, you got to take the wrestler out of it and realize that this guy was a family guy, had 2 young kids at home, and they all now, they have to grow up without a father, which is really sad.
Yeah. And I think that is, that's what's made this so hard, is so many people sharing so many wonderful stories of him as a friend, as a human being, as a father. And it's wonderful to read about, but it also just makes it all the more depressing too. But I think the best way we can honor him is what you talked about, Tommy. So if you think back to your childhood, Luke Harper would have been the guy you would have been afraid of back in the day as a kid. He's like the prototype for that, and yet here he is like trying to help you get a better autograph and at Access, and then there he is cheering on his friends. That's such a cool juxtaposition of this guy, so good at his role in the ring. He could have been a star really in any generation. It's sort of frustrating that he never got to do what he could to his full ability in WWE. He's kind of always stuck in tag teams and felt like he could have done a lot more. But no matter how great he was in the ring, he seemed to be such a better human being. We will celebrate him. We dedicate this episode to him. We celebrate him a little bit in our one episode that we get to talk about him as a former Undertaker opponent. So we encourage you guys to go listen to that back in the archives. But we wanted to make sure that we paid tribute to him here tonight before we get into all the fun stuff that we're going to do here, guys. So you should be able to cue it up now. And I guess I'm ready. Gentlemen, are you guys ready? Do we need to get a water break, bathroom break, anything before we jump in?
I'm good to go.
I think we're good.
All right, awesome. So, once again, Raw Episode 1, January 11th, 1993. We're going to watch the whole episode. So, just get past the ad, pause it at all zeros. And, Travis, why don't you give us the countdown?
All right, as normal, I'll go 3, 2, 1, play, and we'll push it on play. So, here we go, everybody. And 3, 2, 1, play. All right.
So, Tommy, did you ever get to go to the Manhattan Center?
So I did. It was not for Raw, but it was for Ring of Honor many years later.
Oh,
cool.
So there was. So the way the Manhattan Center is set up is there's two different. If you guys have never been there, it's two different buildings. The Hammerstein Ballroom, as Bobby Heenan's now walking in into the ring here with Bill Sean Mooney. So it's the Manhattan Center, the Hammerstein Ballroom, which is seen a lot on ECW shows and different things. A lot of theater of a venue. Been to many concerts there, which is just if you walk right in. But then the Grand Ballroom, which is where Raw takes place here, is like many floors up, and you have to walk up all these staircases to get there, and that holds about like 300-400 people. So really a lot smaller of a venue, but really nice if you're looking for more of your like intimate type setting.
Yeah, dude, this is peak nostalgia for me. For some reason, I think of Raw being in the Manhattan Center for like so long. They're really only there for a couple months. Like they didn't have that many shows there before they moved out of it. But man, just this look as we're seeing the live look of your friend the Fink and then our announce crew here. God, this is so iconic to me.
You could see the guy, the producer down there, like whirling his hand around, like telling the crowd to cheer. That was awesome right there, man. You would never catch that on TV now. They would make the guys out of the shot. I love that. It's how raw it was. But
yeah,
how about Stash McGee over here, dude?
Rob Bartlett.
Yeah, dude. Go. Look at the Macho Man.
Oh my! He's jumping off the screen.
Dude, Rob Bartlett's like Joe Diffie, man. Like he's about to sing a country song.
Oh, rest in peace.
Vince, man, looking to the nines, brother, on his first episode of Monday Night Raw.
Yeah, he had to, man. This was a huge move. So they used to have primetime wrestling on Mondays, which was, your standard WWE studio show. And now they're moving to live wrestling on Monday nights as we see The Undertaker's the first man he ever gave the tombstone to. Coco, beware.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Oh, man, I had so many pairs of those glasses like that.
For sure.
Seriously, early 90s.
How many of those jackets did you have?
0, but I wanted some. I had a couple windbreakers. It was not too far off of that, but yeah.
True.
Whatever happened. Is that Mike Chioda?
That is, very young Mike Chioda.
Mike the Mullet Chioda, baby.
Just ended his run this year.
Unbelievable.
It's crazy. There's the man you were terrified of.
That's right.
I can't blame you.
Yeah, look how big. And I mean, at the time, you don't see people that size. So, like, that was always the appeal of someone like Yokozuna. Like, he's huge,
Yeah.
I've said this probably every time we've talked about Yokozuna on the podcast, but he is one of the biggest reasons why I became a lifelong wrestling fan, because he was such an incredible presence. He was like the perfect heel for me as a kid. Like, it just jumped off the screen to me. I don't know, man. Like, I wanted so badly to see somebody beat him, and he was so unstoppable. I really credit him to making me a fan.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, right here, I think this show takes place 13 days before the 1993 Royal Rumble. And Yokozuna, at that point, wins the Rumble and kind of gets propelled to like superstar status, like pretty quickly into his run.
Yeah, he hadn't been there very long at this point.
Yeah. It's funny, when Raw went back for the 25th anniversary, they did half the show at the Barclays Center, which I went to the Barclays Center version, which made me sad, but this version at the Manhattan Center was like $800 a ticket, and I just was like, yeah.
You made the right call.
What's that?
You made the right call.
Yeah, I couldn't do it. I was like, I can't. We were also going to the Rumble 2018, like at the end of the week, so it was like, it's too much, and but my friends went to this show, and I always thought it would have been cool if they had Vince go in the bow tie and call the show like he had done all those years prior.
I mean, I can't even count the amount of mustaches in the audience right now. It is out of control, dude. Look at that one row. There's like 5 in a row. So many stashes. Look at that. Every one of those guys is a stash.
Absolutely, man.
It's great.
There's so many dads in the crowd right now.
No, they're just stashes, man. Stash only. Look at that camera shot under Yoko's legs. I mean, that's menacing, dude.
Yeah. The cameraman, his job was to be perched right behind Yoko, away from the
Yeah. You see the guy on the Taker shirt right there over Yoko's shoulder? And just a big Taker face on it. Like that's what those T-shirts were back then, you know?
I love that shirt,
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, they released some of these retro shirts. I wish they would release those types of shirts. I'd get them immediately.
Yeah, because if you try to get an original one, you're spending like $500 easily for something like that. It's insane. The market for like that era wrestling shirts. It's wild.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I missed it entirely. I had gotten rid of a lot of my shirts when I moved, and like they barely got anything for them. Now it's like I could have got hundreds of dollars for each one.
Yeah.
Well, another reason why we're doing this episode this week is because next week on our WrestleMania 34 episode, we'll talk about that 25th anniversary show that Undertaker appeared on and had a very confusing promo on. So this is another reason why we're fitting this in this week. It ties into that 25th anniversary.
You guys went to that show, right?
I was at Mania 34. Travis was not able to go, but I was lucky enough to be there.
Yeah. This match is perfect way to show what a heel is. Coco can't do anything. This is fantastic. If you put this on today, the crowd will be booing on it, though. They don't have the patience for this. This is perfect storytelling, guys. This is awesome.
And this is what they started doing. This is what they used to do with NXT, which is why I think NXT did so well. Is you'd have Baron Corbin go out there and do this type of match every week for like 6 months.
It was awesome.
Yeah. Absolutely. That's why I fell in love with like the early NXT, because it felt like I was watching 1993, 1994 WWE. It felt so old school.
It felt like Saturday night sometimes. To me, I know it's a little different now, but I still get that feeling. That it's my favorite show of the week, honestly. But Yoko. Now, Tommy, did you ever buy him as an actual Japanese person, or did you know he was a Samoan at the time?
I pretty much bought whatever they sold me.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, same.
Definitely. The idea that any of this was fake, the idea that any of this was like, what wasn't what they were saying. But my uncle went studied in Japan for a couple of years, and so when Yoko would cut promos in Japanese, he'd be like, "Oh wow, he really is Japanese," and lo and behold, he was not. So I remember when I found out he wasn't, I was very surprised. And I remember thinking when Fatu debuted as Rikishi that he had came back, and it was Yokozuna because he
wow.
Yeah. So I was like, wow, Yokozuna's back. But no, unfortunately not.
Yeah, what a sad story, man. He just, he died far too young as well. What a shame. He had so much talent, had such a great run. Wish he could have lasted a little bit longer as he squashes Coco Beware.
There wasn't one wrestling move in that entire match. I was entertained the entire 5 minutes that way.
Absolutely.
That was awesome.
It was great.
Was awesome.
Yoko never left his feet except to do a leg drop.
Exactly.
Yeah. I love his finisher. Like the idea that he's just like throwing his entire body on the other guy.
It's
Iconic.
believable. It's believable. The other guy doesn't have to do anything to like a Spanish Fly move. That movie was so unbelievable because you both guys had to participate. The guy is winded. He's knocked down. Big fat dude sits on his chest. Of course he's going to stay down for 3 seconds. That's the point of wrestling. Keep your opponent's shoulders down for 3 seconds. It's as simple as that.
Absolutely.
But the cool thing about Yoko, we talked about it in his matches with Taker, he could go. Like, those matches with Taker, they would have little periods where they would be running all over the place, hitting moves on each other. Not like, 2020, not like Keith Lee or anything like that. But for the time, he could go.
Oh, yeah.
So,
advertisement for the Royal Rumble now.
Yeah.
Tommy, do you have any memories of watching this show live, Monday Night Raw, first episode?
So I remember before this they did primetime wrestling, and it was like kind of like they tried to make it like Sports Center, where they'd have all the wrestlers and legends around this big round table, kind of talking about the week's events, and then they'd play matches throughout. So when this started, of course at the time I'm young, so I wasn't able to stay up late, so my parents recorded it for me, and then I'd watch it when I got home from school the next day on a Tuesday, which you couldn't do today because everything would be spoiled and you couldn't be able to avoid the spoilers. But for me, it was unbelievable because you weren't used to seeing the big stars have live matches every week.
Right.
It wasn't something you'd see. You would only see that on a pay-per-view. You'd only see it, once in a while. You would have to go to a house show to see competitive matches. Mm-hmm. So it was a lot of fun, and it felt like so different. And I remember, as we got a little older, Raw was the staple every Monday night. You'd sit down, you'd watch Raw. That was my one night a week. I was able to stay up late, and I loved it. And it's great.
Look at that fit on Bobby Heenan, man. Deep V.
Deep plunging V. With
glittery V.
Rhinestones on it. That's amazing. He's changed outfits since he tried to get in.
Well, I love that.
He was wearing.
In like the show, he's outside trying to get in, and then they're just randomly showing a promo of him here.
Yeah, it's great.
Building up the debut of the Narcissist.
Yeah, that one. I said I was a huge Luger mark. I wasn't into the Narcissist. No.
Have you seen the preview for the WWE Icons episodes coming out with the Luger one?
I've seen just the commercial. I didn't get a chance to watch the first look, but they look great.
They do.
I'm a huge fan of every WWE documentary.
Yeah, they're great.
Yeah.
Seems like they're sort of trying to do their own sort of dark side of the ring type deal. Mm-hmm. So it looks intriguing. Yeah, there's going to be a Yoko episode, RVD. Looks really good.
Yeah.
Man, Heenan's cutting a promo here.
Yeah, he's really excited. It's interesting they have Beth Phoenix in there because she doesn't really, she's definitely an iconic performer, but she doesn't have like the bad history kind of thrown in.
Right.
Yeah, it's not exactly like that, but I'm sure it'll be good.
You're right about the others.
Dude, the Steiner brothers are about to look at this crowd. They're on their feet for the Steiners because they know they're about to see these guys get wrecked.
Murder people, man.
Ring. Joe Blow 1 and Joe Blow 2 are about to get smoshed.
You think Yokozuna had great squash matches? Steiner Brothers might have the best squash matches of all time.
Other than the Road Warriors, these guys.
My word.
That's incredible. Look at Scotty Steiner there. That's his pre-Shoney's baby right here.
He sure is. Oh, look at Doink the Clown randomly in the back there.
There he is.
Not sure what he's doing, but the fans are like mugging him back there.
He blew a straw at a guy. That's great.
But yeah, Scott Steiner is a normal-looking sized guy here. He's not massive, and the peaks aren't nearly as big.
Right. He's still massive. Let's be honest.
I mean, he's definitely a big guy.
He's bigger than I will ever be.
Right. They ain't that the truth.
Doink.
Doink is great.
Blowing a party favor.
I haven't seen one female in the crowd yet.
It's all like just that one girl in the audience.
Yeah.
In the ring holding that sign. That was it. Oh, there's one in the front row, ponytail.
Oh, excuse me.
One girl.
Yeah.
So who are these guys? They didn't get names?
The Executioners, I believe.
What? Oh.
He can't even run the ropes.
He can't even hit the rope. Dude, Rick's about to wreck him.
He's
For
gonna
real.
pay for that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like the big Ico Pro sign hanging off the rafters there.
I love they brought it back in 2018. That was great.
18,
Yeah, it was a good touch. Yep.
Oh,
I thought he was gonna powerbomb. Oh,
I thought he was going to powerbomb too.
Oh, that might be worse.
That is way worse. He squished him.
Rick Steiner is like on the Cherokee County Board of like Chancellors or something in Georgia, isn't he? I think now, or North Carolina,
something
maybe
like that. Board of Education.
Board of Education. And then his brother Scotty owns the Shoney's outside Atlanta.
Closed down though, I believe.
It shut down?
I heard it did. Yeah, I think because of COVID.
Wait a minute, COVID can stop
really?
Scott Steiner?
Yeah.
Oh God, Rick Steiner was great.
Look how happy the Steiners are. Like they get paid to just
They're having a lot of fun.
murder people for a living.
Golly,
They found their
they're
dream
some of my
job.
favorites, man. I love him.
Fantastic behind him. I can't get enough of Doink.
He's great.
It's great. Like little Easter egg back there.
Yeah.
Overhead belly to belly is great. Now we're getting wrestling moves in this match. This is where you're getting your wrestling.
What were your thoughts on heel Doink, Tommy?
So I liked Heel Doink a lot. I think the character was a genius, Heel Doink. And of course, growing up, very much afraid of Heel Doink. But later on in life, when he turned babyface, immediately I loved him. I thought he was just, even though now I'm like, couldn't be any more corny as a babyface. But at the time, what an insane, this guy's protecting his head. He knows it's going to be real rough.
Yep.
Oh, what a great finish.
Dude, someone needs to bring that back.
Yeah. That's great.
Look at the crowd, man, on their feet for these guys. Steiner
Absolutely.
Bros.
Yeah.
They probably trademarked that.
Mm-hmm.
No Vince.
It's funny when I see these producers getting everyone all riled up. It really does. I went to NXT. It's funny. I never put up the blog on my YouTube. I was just editing it earlier to release it over the coming up here over the weekend. I went to NXT in Full Sail about a year or so ago, and literally the whole show is they're building you up, trying to get you amped up to cheer, and coming out of every commercial, they're getting you amped up and trying to get you going. So it's probably what they were doing here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm amped up for this Bobby Heenan.
I'm amped up right here, Bobby Heenan, dude. Looking like Chris Farley.
SNL
skits where he's like eating the French fries.
The Gap Girls. Yeah, that's exactly what he looks like.
Yeah.
He really does.
What commitment, man.
No, I love that when somebody pulls off the wig, he's just disgusted though. Like they maybe didn't know.
Hey yo, up next, a special interview with Razor Ramon, who was facing Bret Hart right at Rumble, wasn't he?
At Rumble,
Exactly.
yeah. He was brand new too, because a lot of the older wrestlers were like, Hogan wasn't really around anymore. Macho was doing commentary. Warrior was gone, so you had to like usher in some new talent.
It's a really interesting period. Yeah.
There's your Taker fan, yeah.
Yeah.
Whew. Dude, was there anything cooler than Razor Ramon's little one hair?
No.
I always tried to do that as a kid, and I could never.
Yeah.
No one could pull that off besides Scott Hall.
Nah,
Just him and Superman. That's it, man.
They're pretty. Travis, you would not have been watching this. You weren't really into wrestling quite yet at this time, right?
Sting had captivated me years earlier, and I'd seen some, just like Saturday nights. So I didn't really follow it religiously. Kind of fell away. I remember seeing Taker early on and just flipping through channels, but I never really was captivated. But shortly after this, so I do remember playing the arcade games, but then it wasn't until 96-ish when I got actually back into wrestling for real. After meeting you and some buddies from my church telling me about NWO and everything, and then really heavy into it after that. So that guy is dressed up.
Yeah, like he made a wrong turn. He got some free wrestling tickets.
Yeah, exactly.
You guys been friends since '96?
Middle school.
Yeah, we met in 96.
97.
96 or 7, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a good run.
Had a good run.
We lived the Undertaker's entire career.
Yeah. But this guy, I tell you what, man, I knew Razor from the video game, and Loved the move, the Razor's Edge. And then when he went to WCW and with Scott Hall, I was just always captivated by him. And then going back and watching some of his early stuff and his matches with Perfect and stuff, I just really, really loved him. But my brother used to do the Razor's Edge on me, I mean, on a nightly basis. Like, he would take me up over his head, hold me out, and then just throw me on the couch. Like, every night.
Such a great finish.
Oh, Owen.
Oh, man, old school Owen.
Dude,
those were the shows I used to love. The WWF Mania, WWF Superstars, the Saturday, Sunday morning type shows.
Look at those pants. Those Zubaz, man.
Zubaz.
Those are beautiful.
That's crazy.
Golly. Yeah, dude, I watched WWF Mania religiously. Todd Pettengill was like who I wanted to be when I grew up.
Yeah. I like that NXT brought him back this year for the their In Your House thing.
That was so good.
Yeah, so good. That was a well done show.
That really was.
It's so funny to look at this and see like NXT at Full Sail, and like this is basically what it is here at Monday Night Raw, the first ever Raw. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Just as far as how close it is.
Yeah, and I mean those tickets, they sell out pretty quick, but I mean we got those tickets. They're $10 each. If you want like front rows, or I think first 3 rows are maybe $20 each. Like they just want people there, so it's pretty cool.
I almost went last year. We went to Disney World. It was like I guess it was a taping before they went live, and I almost got to go, but it just didn't work out. My wife had other plans for us at Disney, so I get it. But one day I want to go.
Yeah, it's unbelievable how close you are to the action.
Right.
It's definitely like a bucket list place for me.
Headlock on Hunger Somalia Relief Fund.
Oh, wow.
Yes, sir.
Talk about throwback.
Yeah.
These are the types of things I love to go back and see, like the old promos for and the old shows. And
I want that shirt. I want a shirt with that on it right there.
Yeah, they should make that. Yeah, why not?
Somalia Relief Fund. That's great. I love it's just on our screen and nothing is happening. I thought my time was stuck, you know? I thought my internet had timed out. Oh, there he is.
Tatanka.
Golly. Another guy.
I'm assuming Lord Alfred Hayes was providing a voiceover of some sort.
Probably.
I would imagine.
All right, so if Bo Dallas dyed in the middle of his hair red and beefed up a little bit, would you look Tatanka?
I can see it.
He could be world champion if he did that, dude. Dude, Tatanka, another guy I thought was going to be the man. Him and Crush, dude. I was huge fans of those guys.
Tatanka, I feel like should have. Like they ended his undefeated streak so abruptly.
I was devastated
about
when
that
happened.
What was his name?
Ludwig.
Yeah. Golly, what a waste. Here's Max Moon.
This guy I did not think was going to be future world champion, even as a kid.
Is this K? That's not K-Dog, man. Who is that? The other guy?
The other guy, yeah.
Paul Diamond, I believe.
Paul Diamond. Good.
I was thinking Dustin Diamond.
Oh, wow.
Look at Sean, baby. Vince
the
McMahon's
blue
proxy.
IC title.
Wow.
Oh,
man.
golly. That is
I don't
awesome.
remember having that. That's
No,
crazy.
I don't either.
That is a baby blue IC title.
I love that.
Dude, that is sweet. I mean, watching this, who's went, look at that. Denim shirt girl, loving some Sean.
With the camera.
There's all the ladies. The ladies are there for Sean.
Yeah, she got to take those to Walgreens, get them developed, man.
Yeah. And they're showing the women now, dude, because Sean's out there.
That's right.
Yeah.
You know it.
They probably strategically knew there was like 6 or 7 in the crowd.
Yeah.
They're only going to show them during Sean's entrance.
Sean's so good, man.
Yeah, even as a kid, like I didn't like Shawn Michaels, but I liked watching him wrestle, and I don't think I fully like understood like why I appreciated watching him wrestle back then. But he was somebody I could tell he's good. Like I don't know what it is about. I don't like him. He's a jerk. He's cocky. He's arrogant. But for some reason, I like watching him.
Yeah.
I remember being really into his Royal Rumble 1995 win.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like the heels never would win a show to go off the air. Like they'd always have a happy ending. So the idea that like this smug guy was standing there with Pamela Anderson as the show went to close was really cool.
Max Moon putting it to Sean right now.
He's trying.
Yeah, Max, he's doing his thing.
Travis and I got to see Max Moon at that event where we met The Undertaker. He was there in full gimmick.
Yeah.
I'll tell you,
Who did
I
not
enjoyed your
get his
guys'
autograph?
vlog on that day.
Thank you. Yeah.
That was a lot of
That was
fun.
really cool.
And you told us before we started you were about to be there with us, almost.
I was. I remember we had even talked about potentially meeting up, and you guys were considering going to the Wrestling Universe, which is like a snowball's distance from me,
Yeah.
like real where I live. And but yes, my wife went into labor, and that was the end of that. So I had my first kid.
That's
There you
fair.
go.
It's fair enough reason. I think you got a
Yeah.
better trade-off than that.
That's
I'll
fine.
have to meet the Undertaker another. Hopefully, he'll do another signing at some point.
Well, you can take your daughter to have a picture with the Undertaker.
Yeah.
That would be even better.
Yeah, absolutely. They're always nicer when there's kids around.
So speaking of Wrestling Universe, I don't know if I ever brought this up on the show, but Wrestling Universe, of course, they sell only like wrestling figure store, one of the only ones in the world. Tommy, you sold me a wrestling figure about a few months ago on eBay.
I did. Yeah, I have a little side gig that I do. I sell lots of wrestling toys and stuff on eBay, and one day I saw that Alex got one and won it, and I was like, it can't possibly be the same Alex Dorio from Talking Taker. And there he is.
Cowboy Bob.
Cowboy Bob. And
His mom jeans.
yeah, and it is something I'm not the type, I try to be cognizant of like right now, if you look on eBay, there's a bunch of people who are selling like Luke Harper figures for way up in price.
Right.
Yeah.
Like I try not to do that type of stuff. I don't do anything like that. I also try not to do like the pick up all the AEW figures I find in the wild and then resell them all. Like that stuff I don't do. But I was unloading some stuff and just started, sometimes I buy, sometimes I sell. And it's a really good way to justify purchases. For example, on eBay recently, I purchased the entire 2002 DVD collection for WWE on pay-per-view.
Ooh.
Oh man, nice.
Yeah, and so what I'm going to do is I'm going to like unbox each one, and that's what I'm going to do on my YouTube channel for next year. That I got all those on eBay, and I probably can't justify that if I didn't sell some of my stuff and the other stuff on eBay. But I had sold it to you, and then it was funny because I had left you feedback and said take her easy, and then I was listening to your show, and you seemed a little creeped out by it. So
I wasn't creeped out. I was just like confused. I couldn't figure out who it could have been. But I mean, what a small world. Dude, that's so
what I
crazy.
said. I was like, what are the odds? Because, I mean, we'll be honest. We don't have thousands and thousands and thousands of listeners. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
We have some. And so the odds of, in this world we live in, that you, one of our listeners, one of our friends, sold that to Alex, like, blew my mind, man. Blew my mind, dude.
Yeah, it really
as big of a reach as Taker has in his figure, like, we don't get all of his fans.
It's not
on our show,
Taker.
we wish.
It's Cowboy Bob.
I mean, Bob. Yeah, Cowboy Bob. Exactly.
That's the crazy
You
part.
know,
It
that's
wasn't
the
an
part.
Undertaker figure. It was a Cowboy Bob figure.
Well, it
So-
reminded me when they did the Taker Untold about him and Orton. And
Yes.
Cowboy Bob looks like he does in that figure.
Yes.
And I was like, oh, gosh, that's why he got the figure, because he was
That's
like
why I
a Taker
got it.
opponent.
Yeah, mom jeans, man.
It's a pretty good figure. I mean, it's pretty good
Yeah.
representation of what he was looking like back then.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
If they made that now, they
You
have
were
cast.
talking about King Kong Bundy, and that is a tough one to come by.
There are some out there, but a lot of them are crappy. Like there's the what is it? Figure. It's like a legend. It's not WWE figure. It's like I can't remember the company, but they make some weird Legends figures. And you can get that one for pretty cheap, but it's such a crappy, ugly figure. And then he has an
Well, it probably goes
LJN
with the ending of that
figure,
match.
right?
WrestleMania.
Yes,
I'm still mad about that.
Yeah.
forever salty on that one.
Dude, who kicks out at 3.1 and just rolls out of the ring and walks away? I don't care if you're King Kong Bundy or not. You put over the Undertaker, dude.
Absolutely.
Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, he ends up like winning that with like a clothesline, right?
Yeah.
Yep. No tombstone, no choke slam, a diving
It's
clothesline.
rotten.
Yeah.
Rotten.
That's one of the worst for sure. I think when we said when we get to the end, we'll probably do our top 20 all-time matches. I think we got to do our own like top 5 worst
Not top 10.
Yeah, or not 10, and that one's going to be close to number 1.
Oh yeah. That one was not one of his better matches.
Atrocious.
So did you guys actually? So Max Moon was sitting there like in full gear when you met Undertaker?
Full gear, dude.
Oh yeah.
Really? Oh my gosh!
And it did not fit.
No.
It doesn't really fit him here. I can't imagine.
No.
Like there. Oh my gosh.
Well, to be fair, he was a lot skinnier. Like, he had no muscle mass, so it was just hanging on. It looked like Max Moon pajamas on him.
Oh no.
Tell you what, Max was giving Sean a lot more trouble than I thought he would.
Yeah, this match is way longer than I thought.
I mean, Sean is giving him a lot of offense. That's pretty good.
Yeah, he really is. He's and Sean's getting a good match out of Max Moon too.
Yeah.
That showed even then what a good performer he was.
Oh yeah. Is Kyoto reffing the whole night?
It feels that way.
Seems like it.
Dude, that was a unique move and a cover right there. You don't see that often.
No.
You should bring that back.
Yeah, you
That's
feel like
pretty cool.
Yeah, I always hear in the WWE headquarters you can go and get like all these old tapes.
Yeah.
And somebody should watch these and be like, hey, no one's done that in 20 years. I should do it. Nice kick.
Yeah, bust that out in the Steiner's little bulldog.
Yeah.
Doomsday Device finisher. That'd be nice.
You know, that was the first super kick of the night. If this were Raw tonight, in 2020, that would have been the 6th super kick of the night.
Oh, and he went for the teardrop suplex.
There it is. Love that move.
His original finisher.
That's crazy. He had the super kick before that.
Wow.
Yeah, he wouldn't adopt the Sweet Chin music until a couple years later, I think.
Yeah, he didn't.
I can't get over how much hair he has here. He has like completely full head of hair. Sean kind of having a little bit of that balding look to him.
Yeah,
and he's not cross-eyed.
It's true.
Right.
He's going to be super bald when we get to Saudi Arabia.
Oh, yeah.
No.
Yeah.
In the bed.
Tony Danza in the bed.
Commercials.
What is it? Oh, Boss Man.
I guess it's probably a commercial for Raw.
Oh,
Mania. Oh, 10 o'clock a.m., I guess, huh?
Yeah.
Why are their parents sleeping until 10 a.m. on a Saturday? What
Like,
kind of a low-life parent sleeping?
Not realistic, eh?
No, definitely not.
No. Caffeine-free. 100% caffeine-free. Still to come, Damien Demento versus The Undertaker. I mean, if that doesn't sell you tickets, I don't know what will.
But let's talk about this. Let's talk about that juxtaposition right there. Both of those are kind of ridiculous gimmicks, like both kind of off the wall, crazy stuff. And Damien Demento lasted 6 months versus The Undertaker, who lasted 30 years. I mean, that just tells you there's something to that man, and not just to that gimmick.
Exactly.
No, absolutely. It really is. Unreal that he's been able to just reinvent himself. And I heard you guys I think a couple weeks ago talking about like how you kind of grew an appreciation for even his American Badass days.
Yeah, for sure. What were your thoughts on that back in the day?
Yeah, I think for me too. Like I always thought like he's doing the ABA stuff because he is going to be winding down his career, and so. He's doing this because he wants to kind of just do his thing and then kind of ride off into the sunset. Lo and behold, I mean, he returns as the dead man, which you guys were there for.
Mm-hmm.
Very special moment. Absolutely. Where were you at? You're in New York. Why weren't you at WrestleMania 20?
What the heck?
So, Travis, Alex, you were on my YouTube talking about WrestleMania 20.
Yes.
Prior to you guys breaking it down.
Yes.
And I told this story on that, but So for me, that was like the end all be all of like shows. Like, and at the time, you'd have to go to a show like Survivor Series 2002, and I got tickets for that. I went to Madison Square Garden very early in the morning. Got to meet Eric Bischoff because WWE was filming. They were like off, and then you go and buy tickets. So for this show, we knew it was going to be really rough. People were like lined up for days. It was going to be even worse. Now, like the internet starts getting involved. It's possible to get WrestleMania 20 tickets. So we went to a Tower Records because they were doing like a release. And we were like second on. My buddy, my mom and I, we were like right in the front. And then right as tickets went on sale, tickets like dropped at like 10 a.m. We were like, we're going to get tickets. This is great. And tickets end up going on sale at 10 o'clock, and right as they go on sale, like by the truckloads, hundreds of people show up at that second. And we're like, what's going on? And what it was, Tower Records wanted to discourage people from camping out, so they did it by lottery.
Oh, no.
And so when it was time to get tickets, unfortunately, the tickets were sold out by the time we got to the front of that line. So that's one of like the most elusive shows, really for me ever, is that WrestleMania 20, because I missed out on it. It was right here at Madison Square Garden.
Yeah, really.
It's tough. But I mean, it led me to finding you guys, because I think I mentioned I found Bottom Line Cast. Mike from Bottom Line Cast is a great guy. I'm sure you guys know.
Absolutely.
When I first started my YouTube, I mean, I used to literally have like watch-alongs for an entire show, and it was just me sitting there watching a show, talking about it. I don't know what I was thinking that anyone would want to sit there and watch me watch a show and talk for 3 hours about it. But like when I first started this, Mike sat there and like for an hour and a half and watched the show with me. And he's the only person who was in that chat hitting me up with everything. So I was like, this is the guy I'm going to follow. I'm going to try to support as best I can. And then one day I saw you guys show up, I think, on his Instagram, and you putting up photos from WrestleMania 20. And that's when I was like, oh my gosh, they were there? I don't even know this guy, but I'm going to reach out and
That's awesome.
Really cool.
Yeah, Mike and JV saved us last week. We were not able to record, and so they graciously let us re-air one of their episodes on our podcast feed. So shout out to those guys. They have been awesome to us as we are looking through the entrance in the Royal Rumble this year, 93. Tito Santana.
A host of characters here. Papa Shango was there.
Yeah, your boy.
Uncle Fred.
Yeah. Very much afraid of Papa Shango growing up. And
the Head Shrinkers, they were pretty scary growing up.
It's funny, I don't remember Hacksaw Jim Duggan's 1993 run at all.
Oh, yeah. He has some big matches on Raw with Shawn Michaels. He has like a mini feud in the summer of 93, and he wears the singlet. He switches from the tights to like a singlet. And
he has that song on the WrestleMania album. USA.
I think if you were to ask my mom the worst part of me growing up, it would probably be me making her listen to the WrestleMania album in the car every day on the way to school. That's probably her number one least favorite thing.
Yeah, we did New York, a drive from New York down to Florida, and it was like 3 a.m. we were listening to that album, and my dad literally opened the window and tossed it out the window. And he didn't tell us though. He just said like they lost it, we couldn't find it, and then like years later he revealed. I couldn't deal with like a Bret Hart sobby song while I'm driving up a ballad. I'm driving down 95 all the way.
It's really hard for me to drive around town listening to Bubble Guppies all afternoon. So yeah, I can imagine a drive from New York to Florida listening to some crappy wrestlers singing crappy songs would have been awful. So
see, my dad never let that fly. My dad was just blasting, AC/DC or BB King or something, Stevie Ray Vaughan or something. My mom would let me listen to stuff. My dad did not ever.
That same here, yeah. This rabbi's trying to get into Monday Night Raw. Bless it.
It kind of looks like Luke Harper a little bit.
It really does a little bit like Luke. Yeah.
I wonder if they had filmed this earlier in the day, or if maybe these are just some fans that couldn't get into the show and are waiting for wrestlers to leave so they can kind of get autographs or something.
But look at the age group. These guys are all like in their 30s and 40s. Like they're not like young kids.
They're loving it too. They're cracking up.
Yeah.
Smiles on these guys.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Man.
Wow. Heenan was the best.
Oh,
so good.
Golly. That was another person we've always loved him, but like going back and watching this early stuff at the early parts of Talking Taker was just so fun to listen to him.
He wasn't
just
funny.
How funny he was.
He was funny, but he did such a good job in putting these characters and these performers over in the midst of being funny, and that's what I think commentary misses a lot in the modern day. Like so much of it is just trying to have good one-liners, or they're just bickering or talking about Twitter or whatever. And they don't get things over as much.
Right.
Yeah, no, not at all. No, they want people to get on Twitter and tweet the hashtag for the matches and do that.
Who's next? Who's on Macho Man's
Mark
right
Yeaton.
shoulder? It looks like Dimitri
That is
Martin.
That's Mark
Mark
Yeaton. Yeah,
Dimitri
timekeeper, man.
Martin.
Oh, Kamala. Another
Oh.
guy we lost in 2020.
Yeah, there's been too many dead people in this show. It sucks.
Yeah, the entire so many of them. It really is really sad.
I saw someone on social media with a graphic of all the wrestlers that had passed in 2020, and I kind of forgotten, like, Kamala, the Fink was this year, Kamala was this year. And it's been kind of a rough year for wrestlers.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Fink was one that hit hard. I love the Fink, and that really was. We had originally thought, oh, there's the Slickster from the ring.
There he is.
But yeah, Fink was doing like weddings for a long time and showing up and like doing introductions for people as they were getting married. And we got married in 2018. I really wanted to try to find him to get him to do it, but at that point his health had kind of deteriorated.
Yeah. Oh, that would have been awesome.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is Kamala turning babyface here.
Right. Yeah, I totally forgot about that. It's funny when you guys are doing all these like these random like watching like an Undertaker build in like 2005, 2006, and you go back and watch some of those shows, and like there's random appearances from Kamala and wherever on the shows. Like,
Yeah.
so interesting to see.
It's funny to watch. So yeah, they bring the old guy, like when he feuded with JBL, and they brought back like Gangrel and stuff like that. It's just funny. There's Damien Demento.
There he is.
Yeah.
What is
Great
that?
hair.
He
What
looks
is
like
he
a.
wearing?
He looks like he's supposed to be from Beastmaster or something like that movie. I don't know what he's supposed to be. But look at that facial hair, bro.
Yeah.
Facial hair, head hair, all the hair.
I mean, I thought Kane had bad hair in 02, but this is worse.
It's brutal.
Oh.
Yeah.
The Dead Man. I mean,
There's
this
the
may
man
be
himself.
this may be the shortest Undertaker entrance we've ever seen.
Yeah.
Showed up.
You can see him come out. He's just there.
I tell you what, we'll talk about it next week on the show. But that 25th anniversary show, I loved when he came out that night. They didn't put the lights down.
Yeah.
Just like here on this night, he comes out. They don't do all the special effects and the lighting, and they didn't do that when he came out of the Manhattan Center 25 years later. I thought that was a really cool touch.
Yeah.
Rest in peace sign on the typewriter paper.
Yes,
back
on
there.
that dot matrix paper.
That dot
That's
matrix paper.
Incredible.
Did you catch that Paul Bearer just ripped his tie off? Like, he just yanked it, and his tie just came off? That was awesome. The crowd's on their feet for Taker, man.
Of course.
He has such a long. I mean, he has a run now of where he's like a babyface for like 6 years here.
Mm-hmm.
Ministry days.
Yeah.
Dude, he is so he's in the zone, man. He's been there in the company for like a little over 2 years now, and he's fully grasped this character, this dead man zombie character.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's. And then like he had that period of time where he had the two fans that were the creatures of the night that would show up.
Right.
Be like, Paul Bear is like fantastic.
Oh, so good.
So good. He's adds so much to this character. It's fantastic. Oh, Taker's cranking the arm. He's going to go up for what we would call old school in about 8 years.
Yeah.
And look at that. He's got.
That's weird. That'd be like the Miz doing the skull crushing finale right now, and I was calling it old school.
Yeah.
Bro. That is. Oh my God.
You're right.
You are right.
He wasn't there for very long. We started calling it old school.
Yeah.
Compared to nowadays. Oh, look at that, though. Choking him in the corner, eyes rolled back. Oop, ref intimidation.
And just think about Vince McMahon knowing what an important show this was. You're debuting a brand new program. You're debuting this live wrestling. What are we going to put out there? We're not putting out Hulk Hogan. We're not putting out Bret Hart. We're putting out The Undertaker. That's who we're putting in the main event.
Yeah.
Think about it. Yeah, you're right. They don't even show Brett on the show. He's the champ.
He's
not
the
even on
champ.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
He didn't have a promo or
Nope.
anything.
Yeah.
They just had the promos for the Royal Rumble, but he's not even on here.
That's crazy.
Oh, Taker with a almost.
He got him good on that one.
And Paul Bear says this time.
Yeah, he's ended. And Damian Demento is not a small man at all.
No, he is not.
Not set up for the tombstone properly.
Oh,
That was the-
crumbles.
It's like whenever Yoko would do the bonsai drop and he wouldn't catch himself
Oh
as
my
he went down,
gosh.
so he just let himself just to destroy the guy. That's
Why
like how
did-
that tombstone was.
Elect Paul Bear in '93.
Elect Paul Bear Mayor in '93. Absolutely, he's got my
All
vote.
right. That was a cool little nuance right there. Taker was going to do more damage, holding his hand up for a chokeslam, and Bear just grabbed the back of his head and pulled him back. That was really cool, man.
Oh, cool. Next week, Woody Allen versus Mia Farrow. Steel cage match. Dang, we gotta watch that one, fellas.
What is
That is
happening?
bizarre.
Doink has a bed sheet on his arm.
Yeah,
He definitely does.
it really does. Yeah.
How strange.
And there's
He's
Gru
trying to get
over.
Doink over. I'll tell you, he's been on the whole show.
Yeah. He's been the thread that brings the whole show together.
Travis, you said there's Gru.
Did you see him
I did.
behind Vince?
From Despicable Me.
It looked like Gru.
God.
Go back and watch it, ladies and
I
gentlemen.
saw it.
See it.
There he is,
Here
right
comes
there.
your boy, brother.
There he is in the
that's
black
right.
trench coat.
Crush. Yep.
They
What's
built
he
this
saying?
feud up for so long before WrestleMania. I mean, think about this. It's like January 11th, and they're going all the way to Mania with
They
crushing.
did have a long
Yeah.
feud. Yeah. And Doink got the better of him, man. He had the two Doinks.
Mm-hmm.
I just remember as a kid being completely like baffled how they did the two doinks. Like, how could they have possibly
What's
gotten
happening?
there? Like, I always thought that Doink would be such a prankster, and then when he ever have to get serious, he'd get like super demonic.
And he would have some great matches, too.
Yeah.
He's like low-key
Matt
the MVP
Bourne,
of some of these early episodes of Raw.
If you watch Matt Bourne's stuff, like what was it? Was he in World Class or something? Like it was one of those territories. He's a hand, dude. He can go in the ring.
Yeah.
Sure.
He was just it's almost like Eugene, one of the best technical wrestlers. Nick Dinsmore,
Yeah.
fantastic.
That's
when he
interesting,
Was, you know, put with this weird character that didn't allow him to do that. You know, so kind of funny how that worked. And then we're going off the air here. Bobby Heenan's still not let in.
What a great little thread on there.
Yeah.
Oh, man. So that's it, dude. That's the first episode of Monday Night Raw. It's not 3 hours long. So
I know.
I appreciate that.
Absolutely. Yeah.
What are you guys' thoughts? Closing thoughts on the first episode of Monday Night Raw?
Go ahead, Tommy.
I think they did a really great job in kind of being able to introduce everyone. You know, you had your hot heels they were introducing with Yokozuna, Razor Ramon, and Shawn Michaels. And then at the end, then in doing so, I mean, you know, you then had your tag team they were premiering there with the Steiner brothers and showing them off. And then all leads up to Undertaker. And let's you know, like, hey, this guy's going to be the standard bearer of the WWE, you know, for the foreseeable future. And who would have known that him and Shawn would be kind of, you know, joined at the hip here many years. And, you know, eventually, you know, we'd retire Shawn. But, you know, I thought it was an easy watch. You know, there wasn't any match on there that was a 5-star classic, but at the same time, you'd then be prepared for the good matches like Shawn and Marty that's coming up 2 weeks from now in the Royal Rumble. You know,
Yeah.
So, I like it. I think that these types of shows were good because they get you ready for things.
Yep. I agree. Yeah, they really highlighted what they needed to highlight, and it was good. It was fun. Like you said, no 5-star classics, but every match there was fun. It was good. It told a story, you know, and it did what it needed to do. Even, you know, the people that went over also got over. They didn't just win, you know, they actually got over there. So that's pretty cool. I really enjoyed that. So
Yeah, it did what it was supposed to do. It got the talent over, and it made you want to buy the pay-per-view. I mean,
Yep.
they're not trying to impress you with great matches on that night. They're trying to make stars and that's what they did a great job of doing. And it is interesting. Undertaker and Shawn Michaels, two of these guys that are going to carry the company for the next 20 years. Here they are in its infancy on this show. That's pretty neat to look back at that. So, we thank you guys for listening to us as we took this little detour to talk about this iconic moment and milestone in The Undertaker's career. And we sincerely appreciate WatchAlong Tommy for being on the show and joining us finally on the show. Tommy, why don't you tell everybody how they can connect with you and follow you? Tell them where to find your YouTube channel and how they can see all that great stuff.
Absolutely, yeah. I'm, really starting to kind of ramp things back up on the YouTube channel now that my daughter's been 9 months now. So, knock on wood, maybe getting a little more free time here and there. And so my YouTube channel is youtube.com/WatchAlongWrestling. We have a great time on there. I've been incredibly blessed. I have a little over 1,000 followers and subscribers now, which for me was something I just didn't think would ever happen. Change things up a little bit. I definitely like to do some live vlogs on there. There's one going NXT TakeOver 25, Royal Rumble weekend in 2019. I have my entire vlog from WrestleMania 35 weekend back in New York, which is a 7-day vlog. So lots of vlogs. Hopefully we'll be able to actually go to live shows again sometime soon.
Mm-hmm.
And just lots of retrospectives. We have a 10-year coming up. Me and my buddies who went to the Royal Rumble 2011, Royal Rumble WrestleMania 27. Maybe you guys can come on with me and chop it up about WrestleMania 27.
Absolutely.
Coming up 10-year anniversary about that. So lots of fun stuff. And as I said, just got we're doing all these DVDs of 2002, and plan is to kind of watch them in real time and review all these old shows. And hopefully you guys will join. But it's youtube.com/WatchAlongWrestling, and you can find me on Twitter at WatchAlongTommy. And I try to go on there from time to time, and it's a good time. So definitely, if you heard about me here, definitely give me a shout.
I believe you did some stuff on the last ride, or you did some Undertaker reviews on there recently, if I'm not mistaken.
So I did. I did a review on the Brothers of Destruction piece that WWE put out there, as well as the Paul Bear documentary. My brother-in-law and I unboxed the Undertaker urn. The foam urn.
It's over my shoulder, if you can see it over there.
Oh, yeah, there you go. Okay, cool. So we did that, and I am in the process. I'm going to be uploading probably over the weekend a unboxing of the Undertaker box set that just came out for 30 years box set too. So it's a lot of fun. I enjoy, and I love hearing other people's stories too. I mean, that's one of the reasons I love your guys' show. I love one of my favorite episodes you guys ever did was your look back at the December to Dismember. That was just such a fun show, and I mean, that's the stuff I eat all that up. I think it's great. You went to the December to Dismember. I think Alex went to the press conference.
Yeah.
Right.
So those are great shows. So yeah, I mean that to me, I think that's what makes wrestling fun, and that's I invite folks to watch along and really come along to all these adventures that hopefully we'll be able to continue on, in the coming months.
That's awesome, man. Well, we encourage all of our listeners to go follow you on Twitter and on YouTube and join you for those journeys. I enjoy watching all your content, and we have so very much enjoyed you sharing all your stories with us.
Absolutely.
And we hope there are more to come as we close out this podcast, and we thank you for being along for the ride. We want to thank all you listeners out there as we continue rolling on to the last ride. And we are going to get back to our regularly scheduled series of matches next week as we do hit you with WrestleMania 34. We were supposed to hit you with it last week. We had technical difficulties, so I appreciate all you listeners being patient with us. I know the last couple episodes did not sound up to our standards, and last week we had to re-air a different podcast in our place, but I was able to get everything adjusted on my end, so this week's episode should sound normal, and we should be able to get back to our business. So we're going to get to Undertaker versus John Cena at WrestleMania 34 next week on the pod. And I just want to hit a couple other notes before we end things here tonight. I do want to mention that The Undertaker won a couple of Slammies last week that we did not get to talk about. Incredible. In his 30th year, I believe he won 3 Slammy Awards for Match of the Year, Moment of the Year, and then was it Best Network Special?
WWE Network Documentary of the Year. Yeah.
Something like that. Incredible, man. And well-deserved for all those, I believe.
Yeah, and I just, blown away how it's him and AJ that won Match of the Year. I mean, you would have, if you'd have looked at this night, we just watched Raw, January 11th, 93. If you'd have told me almost 28 years later that guy in the main event was going to have the Match of the Year, I would have called you an idiot. But he did. Not because I didn't like him, but I was like, this guy won't be around in 28 years to have a Match of the Year. But he freaking did. And yeah, it was against the phenomenal AJ Styles. They didn't get to go in the ring like we know they can. They had to do a cinematic match with the Good Brothers, and it was awesome. And they won. That was the best match of the year, in my opinion. It was fantastic. I loved it. I voted for it. Alex voted for it. All of our creatures of the night voted for it. Thank you guys for voting for it. We are so glad he won that. So,
it's crazy to think that happened in April. Like,
yeah,
how they pivoted so quickly and so well at the beginnings of this pandemic and all these changes, and were able to produce something like that. And honestly, there has not been a cinematic match that has lived up to that. Like, they kind of peaked at that moment.
Yeah, that match was a lot of fun. I thought it was just, and it was what we all needed, I feel like, at the time. Like, it was fun going on, and, it was really cool. And I personally am a huge AJ Styles fan. I'm glad that he got made event to WrestleMania,
Mm-hmm.
And it will probably, at this point, it will go down as Undertaker's final match, which is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So, really awesome to see that. I want to shout out another podcast real quick. I shared this with you, Travis. They are at Taker Mania Pod on Twitter, and I think it's the same thing on Instagram. So normally I would not, if there were somebody kind of doing our same gimmick, I wouldn't want to shout them out. But this is a Spanish podcast dedicated to the Undertaker's career, and they followed us. I followed them back. I have not spoken with them, but this is the podcast in Espanol dedicado a la carrera de The Undertaker. So I have not listened to it. I have not communicated with them, but it is a real thing, folks. So we now have a Spanish spin-off of Talking Taker.
What did Eddie Guerrero call him? El Hombre de Muerto.
El Hombre Muerto.
El Hombre Muerto, yeah. They were backstage. But then
right.
when he walked through, when him and Booker were backstage, Taker just walks by.
El Hombre Muerto.
El Hombre Muerto. Yeah, so, shout out to those guys covering El Hombre Muerto.
Good luck.
So, yeah, Godspeed.
I want to thank my parents for some wonderful Christmas presents. They gave me, I'll show it to you guys. I'll post a picture on our social media, but they gave me a notebook for my podcast notes with our logo printed on there, which was so thoughtful of my mom to do that. And I took notes for tonight's episode in there, so that was a great gift. And Travis, you dropped off, you got an extra copy of the Last Ride DVD, and you graciously donated it and gifted it to me, along with your other Christmas gifts you got me, so I appreciate you on that. And I appreciate Randy Turco, frequent listener and former guest of the show. He got an extra Undertaker Decade of Domination figure that Walmart sent him when he ordered it, and he passed it along to me for my collection.
Sweet.
So thank you to Randy for that. And Travis, you have a little gift that...
Whoa. Your parents also got you another present.
Oh, they got me another present? Yeah, they did. They got me... hold on, guys. 1 second. I'm going to go grab it and show it to you guys.
Okay, go grab it and show
Talk
it.
amongst
He'll
yourselves.
post this. He'll post this on Instagram. He sent me this text on Christmas, and it knocked me for a loop. I was like, oh no, they didn't. It was great. So we talked about it recently on the podcast. Stone Cold mispronounced it, so there it is.
Oh wow!
Cabernet Sauvignon Undertaker limited edition
Little bit of the
wine.
bubbly.
That's awesome.
Folks, it is real. It is in my hands right now.
Yeah.
I cannot believe it. It is. We're gonna have to save it for a special occasion. Maybe the last episode of the show, we might break this thing open and toast to the dead man. But it will be sitting on the shelf for a while. But it's incredible. So incredible Christmas gift. I did not get you that, Travis, but I got you a little something in there.
Yeah, I'll unbag this right now. You guys can hear me. I haven't pre-cut it or anything like Hulk Hogan's T-shirts when he ripped them. But I'm just taking this out. Let's see what we got over here. Oh, my word. This pair of Zubas?
No
It's not
way.
just any pair of Zubas.
Holy crap. Taker Zubas?
Whoa.
Oh, my word. Dude, look at that. XP
awesome.
symbol. Holy cow, dude. We just were laughing about the Zubas on Raw.
Exactly. How perfect
And
is
I
that?
got him right here. What a perfect gift. Dude,
Wow, that's awesome.
I am rocking these this weekend.
You need some dad pants. Those are
I
some
do.
dad pants right there.
These are extraordinary. These are probably one of the best gifts I got all Christmas. This is amazing, dude. Thank you so much.
I hope
Very
you
cool.
enjoy them.
And you know what? You know what you can do in these? Take her easy for sure.
For sure.
So
Because
you
you
got a
ain't,
little room for that.
ain't nothing getting to you when you're wearing these pants.
Absolutely
You're gonna
not,
take her
man.
have a
Enjoy
good-
those.
Dude, I'm going to enjoy the heck out of those. Look at that. That's insane.
Wow, that is awesome.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate it.
Merry Christmas
Oh,
to
man.
you, Travis.
Happy New Year to me.
Absolutely.
Those pants.
Happy New Year.
Start the year off right.
Would you like to plug your music real quick before we go off the air?
Well, sure. If you guys want to check me out, it's Instagram, Travis White Music on Instagram. And then just my regular Facebook. And then I have a YouTube. If I can get 100 subscribers, I'll have my own YouTube channel. Yeah, if you guys want to subscribe on there, Alex keeps posting it on our social media. So check it out. It may not be for all of you, but I'd really appreciate the subscribers. Again, you don't have to listen to it. It doesn't matter. But if I can get subscribers, I can get my own URL, and I really appreciate that. But I hope you will check it out, and maybe it'll mean something to you. But if not, no worries. And I'll keep putting stuff like Take Her Easy on here that we put on last week's episode.
That's great.
And it's on Spotify and Apple Music
we're
and all
on
that
Spotify
good stuff
and Apple
now.
Music
Yeah.
and Pandora and all those things. Yeah, my new CD is streaming on all those. Check it out. Just Google Travis White Reflection. That's the name of the album. So my other one is on there as well too. But
That's exciting.
check it out. Check it out. Yeah, Christmas gift to all my fans. I put it on there for free, so it's all good.
Very
Well,
cool.
Tommy, once again, we appreciate you being on here. It's been the unexpected, most awesome part of us doing this podcast is getting to meet fellow fans like yourself and getting to connect with you guys. So it is an honor for us that you listen and that you want to join us and want to be a part of this. So thank you so much for being here.
It's my pleasure, guys. Thanks so much for having me. I had an absolute blast. I feel like we've been coming up on 2 hours. It feels like it's been 20 minutes. Like it's been so much fun. So I really appreciate it. Thanks again for finding something for us to do. It's been great.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you, Tommy. Travis, why don't you close us out?
If you were there in the Manhattan Center on January 11th, 1993, let us know. We want to hear from you. Did you think that guy in that main event was going to be winning match of the year 28 years later? So, because I'm going to call you a liar if you if you thought that. But anyway, hope you guys put on your pair of Zubas like I am and bring in the new year. Watch some Taker matches. Go watch the Wyatts versus the Usos in memory of Brody Lee or Luke Harper, whatever you want to call it. So may he rest in peace. And as always, ladies and gentlemen, Happy New Year and take her easy.
We are live from the streets of a chilly New York City, but it is about to get very hot here in Manhattan. Hello, everyone. I'm Sean Mooney. A few minutes ago, it was a mob scene out here, everyone braving the elements to be a part of Monday Night Raw. But now they're inside set for the action. Hey, wait a minute.
What?
Bobby Heenan.
I'm
what are you
going in
doing?
there.
No.
Oh,
You
yes,
didn't hear-
I am.
You were replaced.
I want replaced.
Yes.
By who would replace
Well,
me?
Rob Bartlett. You're not
I don't care about
supposed to
Rob
be in
Bartlett.
there.
This is Monday Night Raw, live from New York City,
That's
and
right.
I've got to be in there to host it.
No, you're not.
No, what do you mean,
you
no?
can't get in. I'm sorry.
What do you mean I can't get in? I can get in. I can buy a ticket. They don't
No,
want me.
there
I
are
can
no
buy.
tickets left. So I'm not quite sure what is going on. Apparently, a security guard has detained a woman here. Excuse me, sir. Excuse me.
My nephew,
What seems to be
Ron
the
Bartlett's
problem
in
here?
there, and
Wait,
he's hosting
your
Raw,
your
and
nephew?
I'm supposed to see him. Yes.
You're
He left me
Rob
tickets.
Bartlett's
Yes,
aunt?
I'm his aunt. He's my nephew. He's my yes. I have to go in there and see him
Well,
right
I'm sure
now.
we can straighten this all out. We
He's
could probably
supposed to
go
leave a
into
pass for me at the
the
gate
will
or
call.
something.
Wait,
I'm going in there right now.
wait a minute. Bobby Heenan. There is no more room inside, but the word is out. These folks are lining up to get tickets for next week's Monday Night WWF Raw. Excuse me, sir. I just want to ask you a question. Are you getting
But
your
I got
tickets
to
for
get
next
in line
week's?
here.
Get in line?
Yes, I got to get inside there. I got to
No,
see.
these
But
What's the problem?
I got to see my nephew. His name is Ron Bartlett.
You have a relation.
Yes, I'm Uncle Morty Feldman. He needs me inside. I got to go
we
now.
ran into your
inside.
wife earlier. Wait a minute. No.
I've got to go inside.
What are you
mind?
talking?
I have to. He's got the tickets for me for tonight for the Raw on discount. He's got the discount thing. He's a good bagel. He's a good boy.
Wait a minute. Uncle Morty, you seem to be having a little problem here with your beard. Bobby Heenan.
Okay, you know. I got to get inside.
you go to
I
any
got to.
length.
I'll go to any length.